Sam K is counting on me to composite these two renders for his ArtStation. So I'm going to be honest, I haven't really seen these renders yet. So we're just going to pop one open. I know that they're of nebulas, but I don't really know what we're working with here. So let's go ahead and show our toolbar. I need to come into here, update our plugins so we can use them, and we can close out of this. Now let's drag in this first render. So one of the first things I'm going to do is change this from sRGB to Rec 709, so it looks proper on our machine. So this is a pretty sweet render. I like what we got here, but you can see it's got these very hard lines and it's very much a render. So how do we soften it up a little bit? Well, I got this cool little add-on for Nuke called Virtual Lens. So if we just add this in, we're going to have a couple of special options here, and we can basically turn on all of these little things. These are little emulations of real effects that happen in real cameras. So we can start off with spherical aberration, and if we turn that on, it's just like a very light little like glow you can see. And this has helped to soften up our image a little bit. So some of these like really hard edges, it's really easy to see here. This really hard edge in particular is now totally softened up. And actually, just by how much it softened up, I can tell, and by how hard this edge is, I can guess that this is probably really, really, really bright. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on axial chromatic aberration. So this by default is way too high, but we can just turn down the mix on all of these a lot. There, it's a very subtle little chromatic aberration effect. It's way less subtle here just because of how bright this is, but everywhere else we've got like the teeniest, tiniest little difference. We've got a very small bit of offset, which is nice. Then we can come into the lateral chromatic aberration, turn that on, and by default it's also a little strong, so maybe we'll turn it down to like 3. So I'm kind of just turning on these checkboxes and then turning down the effects a lot. Astigmatism will turn up a bit. Turn that on, it just takes the whole image and it gives it a very slight horizontal blur. Then we've got diffraction glow, which we can decide whether or not we want to add. So what diffraction glow is adding is this rainbowy sort of glow effect. Now I actually think that looks pretty cool, especially right around here, but it's obviously very intense. So we'll just take it and we'll just turn it down a lot, 0.002 maybe. So we get a very, like a little bit of this rainbowy halo effect just right around this super hot spot. So we're gonna take note of the fact that this part of the image right here is really bright because we're gonna use more tricks later to emphasize that. So if we now go to our veiling glare, usually I keep the veiling glare off because that's just kind of a glow, but we'll take a look at our vignette here. So maybe we turn on a vignette. The vignette isn't very strong right now. We could turn it up if we wanted to. A very subtle amount of vignette. Why not? And then the last thing that we'll look at turning on is halation. So halation is a very soft, like red glow effect around big hot spots. It's very noticeable when you're looking at fire effects or like the sun behind somebody and there's like right around the edge, there's a little bit of like a reddish glow. So we'll take that and we can turn down the halation a little bit. And now just turning this on and off, we got before and after. This has already added, I think, a lot of nifty realism to the shot, but we can still add a whole lot more spice. So let's go ahead and I'm going to add in this other effect that I downloaded called optical glow. So what we're doing here is we're trying to stage by stage basically emulate all the different parts, all of the different parts of the lens that light passes through and what those different parts of the lens do. So we're kind of building this out from the middle because we like the glow effects. The glow effects are fun. They're fun to add in. So we've got our optical glow here and it's just kind of a nice glow. And we can turn it down probably a lot because you can see we want a bit of this, like, we want this hot spot right here to glow really bright, but we don't want everything to look super hazed. So we're going to turn this up a little bit so it looks very glittery and shiny. And then I actually want to call in my friend AP Glow, and this has a bit of a wider spread, just the way that this is built. I like both of them separately, so what I could do is I could add another optical glow with a bigger size, but I've opted to take the AP Glow just because I like it as well, but it's got built into it a wider spread. So these are just like, I basically just sat down for like 2 hours one day and downloaded a bunch of Nuke plugins and tried them all out. And this is just what I found out looks good. If you're using something like After Effects, or if you're using Blackmagic Fusion, you are free to use whatever glow effects you like in whatever order you like. But the trick here is just to start off with something very tight and subtle. We're not looking for that super widespread glow. We're looking for something fairly subtle. And then we're going to add in a little bit of a hint of this like huge glare that fans out. So you can see now we bring in a bit more of that haze. And then the last thing that we could do, and we would add this before these, is I have an effect that emulates what a black pro mist looks like. So a black pro mist is a filter, a physical filter that you put onto your camera. I actually have one sec. I think it's actually on my Suri lens. Diffin Black Pro Mist filter. This is a Black Pro Mist filter. And what it does is it adds a little bit of glow, a little bit of haze to the image. There are a bunch of different types of mist filters. This is just the one that I went with because I didn't know that any other ones existed. So let me show you a little bit of a before and after. Before. After. So you put it over the end of your lens. It's the first thing that light passes through before it gets to the lens. And it adds this little bit of extra haze. So the virtual lens plugin actually has a sort of haze built in. But whenever I think of haze, I think of the Black Pro Mist filter. Sorry, give me 1 second. Put this back in its bag. I am in love with my Suri lens. Baby's first anamorphic. So we're going to take our Black Pro Mist filter and just drop it right here. And it'll give a second to load. But it's essentially a glow that's got a very specific sort of character to it. So instead of having a very typical, very soft roll-off, a Black Pro Mist kind of comes out and stops. It's like if you just blurred the image once and added it back on top. That's a little bit of the way that a Pro Mist feels. So we might even take the diffusion amount, and turn that up a bit. There is, by the way, a really expensive plugin called Scatter that kind of does all of this stuff, but with a bunch of different like filters. But it's like $500, and I figured that's a little bit expensive. So we're just gonna go with this for now. Do we like that? I don't know. We can decide if we like that or not. Maybe I delete that. Maybe all we do is I can hit B to add a blur. If I just bring up the blur size a lot, maybe something like 150. Again, we're looking for this sort of haze. That's too much, I think. Maybe just 75. And then we can just bring down the mix factor. And because we're doing proper scene-referred compositing, this all works physically accurately. Because what we're looking at here looks like the final image. It looks like how you might work with it in After Effects, where you just bring in your image and you start working on it. But in reality, we're actually working in linear. So this is the way that our comp actually looks. So when we're adding in our effects, we're doing our effects properly in linear. But up here, this basically changes how it looks. So if we click Rec 709, it's making it look proper to our display, and therefore it looks better to our eyes when we're looking at the screen. So this allows us to get very, very broad with the kinds of effects that we're doing, and it just kind of works. We'll rename this to Pro Mist so we know what's going on. And you know, so far so good, before and after. But I want a little bit more. I want this to feel maybe a little bit more anamorphic. So maybe what we'll do is we're going to add in a little bit of an anamorphic streak. So I'm going to add in another optical glow. And we're going to, we'll add this in after these effects. And let's see, can we change the saturation? If we change the saturation and we make it blue, does that tint the image blue? It does not. Interesting. I don't really know what that does. Maybe the gamma. We don't want to do that either. Okay, we're abandoning the optical glow. We're going back to AP glow. AP glow, we can take the tint, and if we click this color wheel button, it will drop open this really complicated way for us to select our colors. It's very simple, actually. So we've got our color wheel here, but you also have these sliders we could use. Or you could use your temperature slider and your tint right here. And we can also change the brightness. But I just like to grab this and start dragging it around. We can maybe make both of these blue, so it's, or both of these 0.2 and this, the blue 1, so that is a proper blue tint. And then we can just close that. We'll take our mix, and again, we'll bring our mix way down. Actually, we're going to keep it up because what we're going to do first is we need to make it horizontal. So under our max size, if we click this 2 button right here, it'll break the max size into a width and a height. So if we take our height and just bring it down to like 5, look at that nice, we got a nice bright streak right there. That's looking really good. So now we can take our mix and we can bring it way down. And it's a bit subtle, but we do have this nice streak going across the screen. So we're going to play around with maybe the persistence. And if we bring that up a bit, we get like this nice bright blue streak that goes right across. It looks really sweet. It looks really cool. Maybe we add in a blur effect after this. We're just like, playing around. If I break this into 2 parts again, set the width to like 5,000 and the height to 100. We've got a bit of a light horizontal glow. So far we've got a lot of these glow effects. So the image looks a whole lot more hazy than it did before. But it gives it this very bright, like, it looks more like it was actually shot through a camera, but it also looks really bright and intense. So this so far is looking really good. I want to add a little bit of a lens dirt effect over all of this though. So I found a pretty effective way to pull this off. So what I'm doing, I'm just looking for the right texture. Let's try this one. Okay. So this beautiful texture provided by Film Riot. We're going to go ahead and add in an AP glow effect. And what we're going to do is we're going to now take our lens dirt and we're going to put it through a keyer. We'll hit A for alpha. So it's currently doing a luminance key. So now we can take this, and we can take the mask input for our AP glow and plug that into there. And now you can see that our AP glow is restricted to the areas where the texture is. Oops. So our glow is restricted to the area where our texture is. So we're also going to add a T transform node. We're just going to make sure that's centered. It actually is centered perfectly. And then maybe we come in here and we take this and let's actually add a color corrector before the luma key. So what we can do is we can take maybe our gamma. We can mess with our gamma and our gain a little bit, just to make sure that it's a bit more pronounced. And then we can come in here. Maybe we mess around with some of these settings. Just freaking mess around with sliders. Why not? So we got our intensity and our tint. We could take our tint, maybe just push it a little bit more towards that pinkish color we're seeing to give it a little bit more saturation. Now it's a little much, so we're going to take our mix and we're going to bring it down. Maybe we'll take our luma key. We'll just mess with some of the contrast there. So we're getting a little bit in there, a little bit of that in there. Then we'll add in a merge node. And I'm going to take our lens dirt texture and we're going to add it on top. We're going to make sure that this is set to plus. And then we can bring down the mix. So this right now is being kind of a lot. Let's see. Let's try a different texture. I'm going to try this texture. So we'll just add in, I don't know, a color correct node, or we'll add in a transform node. So we're actually going to take our texture and we'll plug it into the transform node. There we go. So this is something. So this one is a little bit more colorful. Now, well, we actually will add in another color correct node. We're going to do, because these textures are a little bit greenish, we want to counter that. So I'm going to go under gain and just pull this till it's a little bit more like gray. We're bringing it towards pink. Now that it looks a little bit more gray, we have kind of just that chromatic aberration, which looks nice. Now, something that I want to do, we've got a lot of very uniform glows around our hotspots. But what I want to do is I want to have a little bit more character to some of our glows so that it looks like, it looks like the glow profile from an actual camera. Because real cameras, the glow isn't just like a soft, even spread like this. It has like this kind of a star effect, or it'll have some certain kinds of streaks. So I've actually got this folder full of these glows from different cameras that I've basically extracted. So you just take like a picture of a lens flare and you just cut out the hotspot basically of the lens flare. So this image is going to be the guide for our glow effect. But instead of doing a glow effect, technically what we're going to do is we're going to do a bokeh. So maybe what we'll do is we'll use this bokeh blur plugin, which I think is just another one that I downloaded from Nukepedia. We're going to click on custom kernel, and we're going to take this kernel input and we're going to drag it to this glow image. So what we need to do is add in a keyer to get, again, a luma key. so that now you can see a little bit of that star shape in this bokeh glow effect. What we're going to do, because this doesn't have a mix amount, so we're just going to add in a merge node and plug this into the B and plug the bokeh into the A. And now when we preview the merge node, you can see we're adding that bokeh effect back on top. We can just bring it down the mix amount for that. It looks like bokeh is being rendered as a little bit larger for some reason, or at least not centered. Let's see this. Yeah, it thinks it's a little bit bigger. Give it a second. I've made the mature move and actually deleted that effect. Because, very sad, it's just complaining a lot today. So, we're going to sit back and we're going to do this a little bit of an easier method. So we're going to add in another merge node, and I'll just hold down control, get all that out of the way so we don't have to look at it. I'm going to take our image here, and I'm going to plug it into our merge node. We're going to hit Shift X to swap these inputs. Make sure that this is set to plus. Now what we can do is we can hit T for transform, and actually we're going to take this and take the input transform, change it to, how about color spaces output Rec 709. Aha, there we go. Now we can take our transform, we can stick it right over where that glow should be, and just scale this up a bit. We'll clear that. Now we can see it looks cool. It looks like there's a big old glow here, because there is. So we'll hit C for a color correct node. We'll format these correctly. We're professionals here. Take our color correct node, bring that gamma down. We'll take the gain, and again, we're looking for a little bit of a pinkish color, because that kind of seems to be where this sits. We can see before and after. We can take this transform, of course, and play with the scale however we would like to do that. We could also, of course, rotate it, like if we wanted to rotate it and we wanted it to look like that, maybe. You know, however. So it's got this cool like streak on this little hotspot right here. We can take our rotation, and if we wanted to rotate it just a little bit like that, to just emphasize that this is a glare coming off the camera. So there, it's a bit of a lens flare that we've added. Now, if you remember at the beginning of the video, I said he sent me 2 renders, which means we have another one to composite. Here's the great thing though. Because we're using what's called a scene-referred workflow, we don't have to specifically tailor them to every individual shot like you would have to in After Effects. So we could just import the other render, and it's pretty much going to look just as good. Now what he says is the other render is very similar, so if we just take that and plug it in. Sam actually made a little comment to me about how you can probably control the amount of nebula just by mixing the 2 renders. So I'm actually going to play around with that in just a second. First, we're going to see what we get here. Ooh, very nice. Yeah, okay. So what we're going to do, we'll hit M for merge and just plug in the other render here. We don't want over a top. There we go. So by setting it to copy, we now just have a slider for basically how much nebula we want in the shot. So we'll just mix it to an amount that I think is cool. I thought it was cool as it was, but maybe a little bit busy. So yeah, we'll keep it turned down. Honestly, without any, it looks pretty cool, but I still want a bit. If you want to see me doing some more compositing work, I actually just recently did a stream that you can rewatch the video of. Now, if you want to be able to make cool nebula renders like he's made here, you should go over to his channel and check out some of those videos, because his videos are top-notch phenomenal when it comes to this kind of technical work. They always look amazing, and they always look phenomenal, and he will have you making the same quality renders.